Okay, Megan, welcome to the Here for Healing podcast. I'm thrilled to have you, friend. This podcast episode came about just recently, maybe like last week or so. We were at a birthday party, a kid's birthday party, and we were talking about gemmotherapy, which you are deeply, deeply involved in. And I had like 10,000 questions. And I was like, wait. We need to do a podcast episode about this, because I find that whenever if I want to learn something, there's going to be thousands of other mothers out there who want to learn about how to utilize this natural medicine as well. So anywho, welcome to the podcast.
Here we are. I'm so happy to be here. This is so much fun. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So we've known each other for, I was trying to think about it, like well over a decade.
I was going to say about 10 years ago, we met at the 6 a.m. class at Sukha Yoga.
Power yoga,
flow.
vinyasa. You want to know what's funny is that Ross and I were actually taking a bath yesterday, which, by the way,
Adorable.
that sounds like really romantic.
It was not.
It was, but it never happens. Like, it was a very rare occurrence. I'm very pregnant and was like, let's take a bath
That
together.
is a very large bathtub.
It was actually not. It was quite tight.
Okay.
It was quite tight.
Gotcha.
But we were taking a bath, and I put on some random playlist, and it was actually one of the playlists that I used during those days.
Oh my
And I was like,
DJ
inhale,
Drez.
arms overhead, exhale, forward fold. Like right away, I was just like, oh, power vinyasa, 6 a.m., one breath,
man.
one movement.
Takes you right back. I can smell it. I can smell the studio.
I know.
And then we hung out in Bali. Remember that?
Yes.
100 years ago also.
And now we're just chatting natural medicine in Dripping Springs, Texas.
Classic.
So tell me this natural medicine that you're working with. It's called gemmotherapy, and the reason that I got really, really curious about it was because I'm obviously into holistic medicine. We don't keep any type of kind of over the counter. I think we have a bottle of children's Tylenol for like
just in case.
Yeah, emergency purposes.
Totally.
And other things like that. Like, other than that, I rely a lot on like detox baths. I rely on essential oils that I learned about from my mom. And then I'm not well versed, but I'm very familiar with homeopathy. So then you started telling me about gemmotherapy. I'm like, what is this?
One more thing.
And maybe we spoke over the weekend, and like 2 days later, Cash had a fever. So I was like, can you come over? And I can talk about my personal experience with it so far. But what is it, and how does it differ from homeopathy?
Such a good question. Okay, so I brought a prop. This is a bottle of blackcurrant.
Love it.
And I always joke that, like, in my big fat Greek wedding and the dad always uses Windex, I use blackcurrant on everything.
Okay.
So we'll put a pin in that and we'll come back to why I love blackcurrant so much. So gemmos are made from the bud of a plant. So this is very different from homeopathy, which is made from like a very minute substance and then it's diluted quite a bit. Homeopathy is a very energetic medicine that works on like an energetic level in your body.
Okay.
If you put a homeopathic pellet under a microscope, you're really not going to see the substance. It's the energy of that promotes the healing. Gemmos work on a very physical level. So the reason that they're made from the plant bud is that's where all the meristem cells are. That's where all the like plant energy and enzymes and everything that's going to make that plant grow up to be as magical as plants are is found in that bud. So it's super, super concentrated. This is different than most herbal remedies that you'll find on the shelves of like a grocery store or a Whole Foods, because those are made from the mature plant, the flower, something that's kind of already grown. Okay. The stem cells are the super powerful healing part. There's about 50.
Well, that's in general, stem cells.
Right?
Like I love that
See?
You're talking about plant stem cells. I'm like,
See?
okay, I'm in.
Okay, you're like, sign me up. Great, podcast over.
Okay.
So there are about 58 different gemmos that are used. Each one corresponds to a different organ system, and it promotes detoxing that organ system. So what you can do is really start to learn this language of gemmos. And when you're sick, when your kid is sick with a symptom, you start to match the gemmo that symptom requires. So for example, when Cash was sick, he had a fever. So we gave him blackcurrant, which is basically an anti-inflammatory. And what that's going to do is support his body as it moves through that fever. We don't want to suppress it. That's what Tylenol is going to do. And then the germs, the pathogens just stay in their body. And that's why kids keep getting sick and sick and sick and sick, is that they don't go through the full healing process. What gemmos do is work with your body at like a very cellular level to help your body heal itself, because your body knows what to do. The gemmos are just supporting what your body innately knows how to do based on the specific characteristics of the plant bud. So the 58 different plants, they're different trees and shrubs and bushes, black currant, dog rose, like common alder, My daughter's actually named after a gemmo. My daughter's name is Rowan. And so the Rowan tree is a gemmo, obviously. And so what you're doing is taking those very powerful stem cells and then using them in this elixir. It's an extract really, and just a couple drops. And it really helps to work from the inside out is what we're trying to do. So
it's quite radical thinking. Maybe not in our circles to not suppress a fever. This is something that my mom taught me about years ago when I first had children, that a fever is beneficial to the body, obviously to a certain point, but that we want to let the fever. Here's my question for you. Why do we not want to suppress a fever in our children to a certain point?
Yeah. So I'm the total crazy person who, when my daughter has a fever or I have a fever, I'm like, yay, fevers. When I have friends who are terrified of fevers. Yeah. And we have been taught to be terrified of fevers. But the reason why they're so good is that's your body's internal healing mechanism kicking on. So when my daughter gets a fever, I celebrate that because that means that her immune system is working. That means that everything is in order, and my job is to keep her comfortable and support her body's own healing. As soon as you take the Motrin, the Tylenol, and you bring the fever down, that's not doing anything to make your kid feel actually better. It might make them feel better. They might get some energy back. But what the body really needs is to burn through the pathogen. It's got a whole system that it's working through. It's trying to like get rid of the pathogen. So it's fevers. It's like also like pooping and peeing are very important when your kids are sick too, to help get rid of the pathogens. But you want the fever to burn whatever it is that's making them sick. That's literally their body being like, I got this. Let me handle it. We want to support that as much as possible. And so using things like gemmos that are going to support that fever instead of suppress it, but also things like the baths and the resting and not eating. You don't want to take energy away from the body's healing process when they're sick. So all these things, what they're going to do is let your kid actually go through the whole cycle. What happens when you suppress it is that pathogen isn't fully released from their body. And this is why you see kids just getting sick all the time these days, is that you suppress it and then it comes back stronger. You suppress it, it comes back stronger. If you just let it ride, as uncomfortable and as nerve-wracking as it can be, been there, it is the best thing for your child's body up to an extent. I also always say you treat the child, not the fever. So not to focus too much on the numbers, as long as they're comfortable and they are like, they're safe and they're okay and they're resting, great. I have totally used Motrin on my child. She had, which is a confession, a crunchy mother, have used Motrin. Yes. We had pneumonia last summer and literally just were so uncomfortable, couldn't sleep. And so that is the point where I'm so grateful to have things like Motrin in my back pocket. But to rely on them for every illness is going to continue that cycle of sickness.
Up until what point is it like a number that you hit? Like if a fever hits 103 or something, or is it more just watching your child and watching discomfort?
It's absolutely watching them. Yeah. And so once she started to get really uncomfortable and couldn't sleep, and rest is so important when you're sick, I wanted to make sure that she could get enough sleep in. So I was just kind of watching her. And then what that does also, and this is the thing about gemmos that I really love, it helps you really cue into your mother's intuition, which for many of us has been kind of delegated to medical professionals. We kind of forget that we know what our kids need and when they need it just by watching them and tuning in. And so like watching them when they have a fever, I personally don't think the number really matters. It's how she's feeling, whether she's comfortable. And if she's uncomfortable and can't rest, or if it keeps rising, then we would seek some help for sure. But for the most part, like 99% of the time, we're just relying on natural things like this to really support the fever and let it move through its own process.
Okay, love it. So far what I'm hearing is a pedestrian explanation. They're plant stem cells. Yeah. And they work on a physical level to help detoxify the organ that the plant supports most. So you're supporting the natural healing of the body.
Exactly.
Did I miss anything from like
totally
a like ABC
Gemmo
version?
Expert. Okay. Gemmo expert. Look at this girl.
Why and how did you get into this?
So it actually is like a second generation family business at this point. So my mom, I grew up very traditional medical, all of the things. I had allergies, eczema, asthma, steroid inhalers, ear infections all the time, antibiotics all the time. all that great stuff. My dad was in the Army, and military doctors aren't really known for their like holistic leanings usually. And really kind of went on my own health journey where I realized that I had a dairy intolerance, which was causing all of these issues. Gave up dairy. Everything was fine. Totally normal, healthy body again. And my mom's health journey, she has had skin cancer a couple times. When she was pregnant with my little brother 23 years ago, she had stage 4 melanoma. We were living in Germany at the time, and she went to go see a homeopath that like supported her healing process. And she's fine now, obviously, 23 years later. Wow. She got very into homeopathy, became a practicing homeopath, but was really looking for something that was going to support bodies on a physical level as well as an energetic level. So she discovered homeopathy, which has been practiced in Europe for many, many decades. It's been around since like the 50s or so. It was actually invented by a homeopath. So my mom discovered it maybe 15, 20 years ago and then brought it to the States.
Wait, gemmotherapy was invented by a homeopath?
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
Exactly. So they work really beautifully together.
Okay.
Gemmos on a very physical level, homeopathy, very energetic level.
Okay.
So my mom realized that this was maybe the missing piece for a lot of her clients that she was working with who really just needed to like be moving stuff through their body. And started seeing one-on-one folks and helping them with gemmos, and has done a ton of research. She's written books. She just had another book come out 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's The Art and Science of Gemmotherapy. Cool. And these are actually her gemmos that she imports from Romania. And so she sells gemmos. Those are the gemmos that I use and I also sell and have studied with her. And so this all kind of led me to be using gemmos when I was sick, just, before even being a mom. But it never really landed with me. I was like, okay, sure, I'll take some whatever black poplar for this fever. I would just always text my mom whenever I was sick. And she'd be like, take this and that. But it never stuck until my daughter was born. And as soon as she would get sick, I would text my mom and I would be like, oh, she's got a cough. Because that panic when your kid is sick is the worst feeling. And it's beyond anything when you're sick. Like it's very different when your kid is sick. And slowly, whenever she had a cough or a stuffy nose or a fever, my mom was doing such a great job of not just telling me what it was that she needed, but helping me learn at the same time. And so, here's why we're using this one. And here's another option that you might use. And it built my confidence to the point where I didn't need to be panic texting my mom anymore. I had all my gemmos in a drawer. She would wake up. I would be like, okay, sore throat. I know exactly what we need. Cough. I know what we need. And that feeling was so deeply empowering and regulating for my nervous system that I was like, every mom needs this. Because it feels like right now you are either using over-the-counter meds and maybe you don't love it. Maybe you don't love the side effects. Maybe you don't love the food dyes. Maybe you don't love whatever it is. But Googling natural remedies can also be very overwhelming. You're a busy mom. You Google something at 2 a.m. It's like, make some nettle tea. And you're like, I don't have nettles right now. And so for me, gemmos are like a little language. I keep them in my drawer. I know exactly how to translate the symptoms to what my daughter needs. And she's thriving. Like, yes, we get sick, but I know exactly what to do when she gets sick. We've had 2 urgent care visits in 4 years. One was for the pneumonia. Which, we took antibiotics for it, and thank God for antibiotics. And thank God she hadn't had antibiotics every month previously so that they actually worked and that her gut wasn't totally messed up. So I got into gemmos through my mom and her teaching me. And now my mission is to teach other moms because I think it is such a powerful way to sort of reclaim your sovereignty as a family and like take care of your family in a way that we've kind of forgotten how to do.
Yeah. And I remember you saying that like Rowan she like participates in it. Like mom, she knows black poplar, she knows black currant now. And my kids had started doing that with essential oils just because I had started them at such a young age, or I need my hydrogen water, whatever it is,
Totally.
And I think it's so beautiful and it's so empowering to start that in children at a young age to participate in their healing as opposed to outsource their healing.
100%.
Like give me something, like, okay, mom, I'm going to go grab this. So talk to me a little bit about like what Rowan's participation is in it and how, like, I don't know, just kind of what you've noticed in that.
Absolutely. It really is like so amazing to watch, and that she knows exactly what she needs. If she has a cough at night, she goes, Mom, I need my hornbeam. And now it goes to the point where she's even like pulling the right gemmo out of the drawer and she'll be like, I need this. There are some incredibly powerful nervous system regulating gemmos as well. And when she's dysregulated in the morning, it's like, I know we're going to go, today's a white willow day, the days that the tantrum starts before 7 in the morning. And so, and she also feels like she can feel the difference. So I think she can kind of make the connection. I think one of the things that I hear a lot is for moms who are wanting to like make the switch into a more natural lifestyle. Well, my kid loves cheese. Okay. If they're getting constant ear infections, you might want to reevaluate the amount of cheese that they're eating. Well, that feels really hard. That feels really different. It's really difficult to make decisions that are different from the folks around you and to kind of be the only mom that's like, no, sorry, we're like not doing food dyes, whatever it is. But Rowan has been gluten-free and dairy-free her whole life. We don't do food dyes. We obviously eat very similarly to you guys. And she's super proud of it. And she knows that she will not feel good if she eats foods that are not those things. So if we go to a party, she always asks if the cake is gluten-free and dairy-free because she says, that's what I eat for my body. It's good for my body. Yeah. And it is good for her body.
And that's empowering for her to be able to speak up for what she needs.
Exactly.
I mean, a little girl at a young age being able to do that, it's beautiful.
Yeah, totally. I mean, isn't that the thing that we all want for our kids, for them to be able to advocate for themselves and for, you know, be able to advocate for your children too. And so I come across so many moms who are worried about, you know, ruffling feathers or am I going to offend someone at a social situation but like all that matters is your kid's health. Like that is like the only thing. And we're so lucky to have healthy kids and to be able to support them in this way. And to let them kind of take ownership of their own healing journey at such a young age, I think means that like this is generational change. Like we're really breaking some generational curses here, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And for moms too, the biggest thing, and I mean, we can both vouch for this, is like let it be easy. Let it be simple. And before we even started recording, I was telling you about how I have this homeopathy kit sitting on my shelf that's been sitting there for like, I don't know, 6 months. And like, dust. I want to learn homeopathy. I want to, and I've gotten the book, but there's something about it that feels really overwhelming for me. And I have language for, you know, these wellness tools. So if I'm feeling that way, I could imagine how someone who's just trying to make the initial switch to maybe some more natural things would be like, it just feels like learning Chinese. Yeah. Why does homeopathy feel difficult for me? And I don't know if it's because I know you personally, I trust you, whatever it was, but I was like, oh, here's this drop. This is for fever. Here's this one. This is for a cough. It felt very simple. Was that just my experience, or do you see that across the board between gemmotherapy and homeopathy?
Oh, that's absolutely the way that I describe it. Like gemmos are a very simple, almost one-to-one to over-the-counter drugs. Okay. So homeopathy has so many different layers to it. If you see a true homeopath and do like a homeopathic consultation, not just kind of like the Boiron mixes or whatever it is, it has really nothing to do with like the acute symptoms that you're feeling. It has a lot to do with like your constitution. And so my mom, being a homeopath, she has a program that like if we reach the end of our gemmos for a couple days and Rowan's not getting better, I'm not getting better, we then go to homeopathy. But to do a true homeopathic intake, it's like, do you want hot drinks or cold drinks? Are you lying down? Are you sitting up? Do you want blankets on, blankets off? So it is very complicated. And like for the average mom who's also working and has 3 kids and all the things, you're not going to do that for your kids. Yeah. So you might grab a homeopathic mix at the grocery store. Those aren't nearly as powerful. They're like a great, if you need them. Yes, we have used the cough syrup and those kinds of things, but because they have so many different homeopathic remedies mixed together, the real powerful homeopathy is when you get the exact right remedy. And then it's amazing. So like if you have a homeopath as a mom and you can like get free consults, great. The thing I love about gemmos is that you can replace a dozen over-the-counter regularly used medicines with gemmos literally on a 1-to-1. So this is generally how I start to teach moms to use gemmos. This is like the easiest entry point. You can way overcomplicate gemmotherapy. Like you can get very, very deep into the nervous system regulation, into chronic illness. And my mom knows everything about every single remedy, from the plant to its roots, to its structure, to like all of it. I am very interested in this 1-to-1, like how do you use them in acute situations, because it's such an easy entry point. And so we use a kit of 9 different gemmos, and they replaced a dozen over-the-counter meds. So things like, instead of Neosporin, don't reach for the Neosporin. It's an antibiotic. It's not really great for your skin. walnut has the exact same antibacterial properties, and you put it on a wound, on a burn, and it heals it up. So I think as a way for moms to get started without the Googling, without the overwhelm, without the like, oh my God, do I need a PhD in this to like even start to use it? You can literally just like do just blackcurrant instead of Tylenol and just see.
Yeah.
And then I think that starts to build your confidence, and it starts to make you feel like, oh, okay, I can do this. And then you add in another one. And then slowly, the next thing you know, your kid wakes up and you've got the language in your head that you can translate the symptoms to exactly what gemmos they need. And that feeling is like, that is the feeling that I want all moms to be able to experience.
Yeah. So 9 gemmos can replace 12 over-the-counter drugs.
Yeah.
That's good. That's amazing. I'm
right?
like taking mental notes right now.
And they last a long time. So you're only using like 1 to 3 drops. You know, if you're in an acute situation, you can do 1 to 3 drops every hour. But using these, right? So like the whole family uses this, and this can last you a year or 2. So they're also super cost effective, and they're very easy to give toddlers. I mean, you saw that with Cash, right?
Well, like, yeah. Cash's experience, which I wanted to share about, was you came over, you brought 3 or 4 tiny little bottles, and he liked them. So the biggest thing for me is also getting them to take them.
Yes.
Like, he wants like the vitamin D gummies as opposed to the vitamin D drops, right?
Same, honestly.
We were actually we were talking about this before we started recording, where you and I have been taking creatine powder. Okay. But we
trying to take
creatine powder daily, right? For brain power, for lean muscles. But the thing was, for some reason, we just weren't getting to it every single day, even though we put electrolytes in water every day. For me, there was a block every day.
There really was. What was it?
Yeah. And then we were eating these creatine gummies right before you came in. We're like, supercharge the brain. And we're like, I was saying how much better I feel actually doing it every day. But people are like, oh, but it has some sugar in it. I'm like, yes. And it's still allowing me to take it every single day because I enjoy it and I like it and it feels like a treat and I'm getting the benefit of it. Yeah. So what's the point of it being like absolute perfection, but we're not actually utilizing the medicine? So that got me thinking about this, because the biggest thing was you walked into my house and you were like, okay, we're going to give it to you. And he's like, no, right? Because kids don't want to take it. And then you put it in. He was like, oh, okay. I don't know. I haven't taken them myself. What do they taste like?
I mean, I think they actually all each have a different flavor. They're just kind of like, they're in an alcohol and glycerin mixture.
Okay.
So it's a little bit like a little bit of bourbon, a little brandy. So that might be why you liked it.
Yeah.
And they each kind of have a different like essence to it. But they're a little sweet too.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just like, it's kind of a nothing. Like, it's really not a big deal. And it's the dropper too. It's like, I can't get my kid pills.
Yeah. The dropper was fun.
The dropper's fun. They love the mechanism. I mean, my daughter's like taking like droppers and droppers full. Like, I remember like when she, like maybe a year ago, I like texted my mom. I was like, if one has 5 droppers full of blueberry, is that a problem? And this is the other thing. There's really no side effects. Like, there's no way to OD on them. There's nothing dangerous about them. I've been using them on my daughter since she was 3 days old.
Yeah.
You can start with newborns.
Wow.
All like every generation can be using them. But yeah, it's like the taste is really, it's just really easy.
Yeah. Like
and
neutral.
It's just kind of neutral. It's a little sweet, and it's not giving them pills, powders, tincture, like all the stuff that I think a lot of crunchy moms kind of get. Like, we tend to way overcomplicate things
and get stuck in perfection.
I
went all so far.
Yep.
And then I was like, yeah, but they're not taking it. I'm not doing it. It's too much. It's not consistent. So I'm like, how do I actually make it doable for myself and my family? So he took the drops, and you directed me on how to do it. It was like 1 to 3 drops every 15 minutes. And then Ross came home, and Ross was like, how's Cash doing? And he said, Mommy's friend came over and helped me feel better. Oh my gosh. It was so sweet. It was so tender. So this is maybe like a week ago. And last night he's in bed and he goes, Mommy, I don't feel good. Can you go get me the drops? So I go get the drops, and you had given me, which we're going to come to, like these white little pellets.
Yeah.
And right when you gave them to me, I like went to go grab them, and you're like, wait, use a spoon.
So the magic wears off.
Yes, the magic wears off. And so I used a spoon and I scooped him out and I gave it to him when you came over last week. And he was like, I'll go get the spoon. Like, I had done it with him one time, and he runs out and he gets the spoon, and he was just like so excited and proud, I feel like, to participate in it. Totally. And then he woke up feeling great, and he's out playing today. Amazing. So that, I've only used them now that 2 times and saw results from it. And not only did I see results from it, but I saw my child happy to engage in the process, not fighting, not yelling, not, complaining. He wanted to participate in it. So also, what are the white pellets you gave me?
Great question. Now that your child's taken them for several days.
Yes.
Those are cell salts.
Cell salts. That was it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So
I remember you did tell me. I just forgot.
That's just sugar. No, they're cell salts.
No.
They are very low dose homeopathic kind of minerals.
Okay.
So there's a set of 12 cell salts, very easy to get on Amazon. There's a couple different brands that you can buy. They're not expensive. And I use generally in conjunction with gemmos. And they can be used for acute things and very similar. It's a similar language because like each one is related to like a different kind of symptom. But there's only 12 as opposed to the 58 gemmos. So the ones that you guys had for Cash was ferrum phos, and that's what you can give at the onset of a fever. So I'll generally dose like a couple drops of black currant, a couple little pellets of the ferrum phos. You can do the black currant like every 15 minutes during a high fever. I've seen my daughter's fever go down 1.5 degrees in an hour with just the black currant. Wow. And so, again, going back to like that's supporting the body. And so the cell salts are minerals that your body needs in like kind of a homeopathic version of them.
And one thing that we had talked about when you first came over and you were just kind of telling me how you've been supporting different mothers with it. And you alluded to it earlier, but was like that we can't just give these. We have to look at the lifestyle overall. Totally. And that's where you were saying like if someone's having recurring earaches or these recurring ongoing things, like where do you meet a mother or a parent in that to say like, hey, here's when you would use gemmotherapy versus here's when we need to start making maybe some lifestyle shifts?
I think that gemmos work best on a body. Like you have to think about the terrain that they're working in. And when there are not other root causes that are happening, you'll see the gemmos work really well. So if you are using them and you're like, gosh, like this doesn't seem to be moving the needle, something that can happen is like, I'll give my husband gemmos, but then he'll take his Motrin. And then you're like, okay, well the gemmos aren't really going to be able to like overpower pharmaceuticals.
Right.
Because they are more gentle than that. And so it's a matter of like, if you're not really seeing the needle move, I would start to think about, okay, so maybe there's something else at play that like, for me, it was my dairy allergy, which was causing, when you have all this excess like mucus, then it goes in your ears. And that's what a lot of ear infections are from. And yes, you can take blackcurrant and blueberry to help clear that up. But if there is all of this like there's only so much that like the body can be doing on its own if it is constantly being inundated by something that it's allergic to. And I harp on dairy all the time, not because like dairy's bad. Like I think dairy's fine for a lot of people. And I think a lot of people do have a dairy intolerance that's causing other symptoms. Like for me, it was the craziest thing. I had grown up drinking my glass of milk every dinner. I'd have coffee with milk in the morning. And then I'd be like, gosh, I can't breathe. I guess I should take my inhaler. And I like never even... So like I do harp a lot on dairy because I think it is related to a lot of the issues that we see in kids these days, especially, not raw, fresh, what I mean? Like the good kind of dairy, like the dairy that you're going to get at the grocery store.
Right.
But yeah, it's really like, if you're not really seeing the needle move, you might want to think about like, maybe there's some other layers. And this is something that I like to help moms with too, is like, what are those like small habits that you can start to really start to stack on each other? Those foundations of like sunshine. Are you getting movement? Are you drinking enough water? Like the things that often go by the wayside when we're moms because we're so busy taking care of our families and we forget like, wait a second, I actually haven't had any water today. Gosh, I should really get in on that. So they're going to work a lot better in a body that's like already kind of, the lymph is moving really well. In these acute situations, you're going to see them work in systems that are like, things are already kind of balanced. It might be a little trickier to see headway if there's other things going on. Then there's a whole other set of gemmos that you can be using to support. But like particularly for these acute ones, which are the ones that I like to focus on because they're the easiest to wrap your head around, that's where you really want to make sure that, things are moving.
Cool. Okay. That's all clear. I'm learning a lot. I'm feeling very confident here. Yes. So what's like the ABC version of getting started with like a kit, let's say? without giving me 50 of these, like where, so is it the 9? Because you said 9 replace 12 pharmaceuticals. So do you have like a kit that starts with these basic 9?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
It's the
and directions.
And directions is the Confidently Crunchy kit.
Okay.
You can use the code Carly10 to get 10% off of it.
Nice.
So we'll link that in the show notes.
Thank you.
I think without the discount, it's like $145, and then there's a discount. So if you think about like the investment that's like for a year or two to take care of your family.
Okay.
Like it's really like extremely cost effective.
And there's like a guide that says fever.
Cough. It does. And then I also offer Telegram support. So if you were like, hey, this sounds really cool, but I don't really know how to get started, you can buy the kit and then join my Telegram channel. And then that's where like the panicky, like, I've got a sore throat. What is it? And I'm like, I got you. It's black honeysuckle. Don't worry. And then eventually my hope is that you can wean off the Telegram channel and be like, I'm good. Right. It's basically me recreating like me texting my mom in a panic and her responding, because that was such a like powerful way for me to learn is that one-on-one support. Yeah. And we need all of us parents, mothers, fathers, like we need each other. We need that 100%. Support. Like what worked for you? What worked here? And people who have shared values and who are like-minded. So that's beautiful. I love that you have that resource. Is there anything about gemmotherapy as a whole, because that's really what I wanted this whole podcast to focus on. I was like, I want this to be like a one-stop shop resource for people who are looking for ways to naturally support coughs, colds, flus, just the things that happen with our children. Is there anything that I didn't ask that would be of value to share as someone would get started or make a switch to this? I think the thing to know is like, yes, it is wonderful in these acute situations. And once you start to get confident in that, there is a whole world of support for your body with gemmos, because there are 58 of them. There is something for everything. It is very overwhelming to sit down and think about all 58 and be like, I don't even know where to start. So that's why we try to keep it really small and start. One of the biggest things that I also teach, like kind of layer 2, is nervous system regulation. So they are extremely powerful nervous system regulators. I don't really know any moms who need nervous system regulation. We're all so regulated and chill all the time with like, no one's yelling at me all the time. So when I think about for moms, like that's kind of the second level. Once you kind of get your toes wet with the acute and you start to get a little confident in using them with your kids, there's a whole world that can be unlocked with them. And so this is really just like the beginning. It like gets you interested. It gets you taking care of your kids. It gets you out of urgent care, hopefully, for the most part. You know, families who are going to urgent care for every fever, it's like you're wasting time and money. Like just support your kids' bodies through by using these. But yeah, it's like, this is such a small piece of gemmos overall. And there can be a lot more if this is something that's really interesting to you.
Yeah, that's cool. That's interesting. I feel like more and more, Ross and I talk about this a lot, about how less people are drinking alcohol, it seems, than like ever in the history of all time. Like it's just, I don't know, people are moving away from it, and mocktails are having this resurgence and things like that. And so, but there is this desire from a parent to have a way to take a bath. Sometimes we can't get in a bubble bath at 5 p.m. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but we also are not going to reach for a glass of wine or something like that. So do you have, I could see how gemmos could play a big role in that. Like, do you have like, what's the 5 o'clock gemmo for moms?
We love a hazel.
A hazel?
We love hazel. Yeah. Okay. So hazel is like a nervous system regulator. It's also really good for your lungs. So if you're like, hazel can be really good if you're recovering from any kind of like lung stuff going on, but it's also like a nervous system down regulator. You can also give it to your crazy kids if they're like bananas. Hazel. If the witching hour, like 6 to 7 p.m., hazel's a really good one to kind of down regulate their nervous system. My other favorite one, and this isn't in the kit, but I struggled for many years with not sleeping. My daughter was just like, we just barely slept 15-minute increments for like 2 years. And sea buckthorn, I want to shout it from the rooftops, because if you wake up from that sleepless night and you are just like, don't know heads from tails, sea buckthorn it's basically like sunshine in a bottle. And what it'll do is like reset your circadian rhythm for you. and also promote some like immune boosting stuff too. So I literally, there were some mornings I was like, okay, I know I only need 3 drops, so maybe I'll take 6 because it's now been, 6 months of not sleeping. But that for me is one of my favorite mom remedies, especially new moms with a newborn. And when you're up all night, you're doing, who knows, day from night. Sea buckthorn is also a really nice one.
Okay,
to have
so
in
for
your
my
back
postpartum
pocket.
gift,
Exactly.
I will be expecting
I've got
some
a whole,
sea buckthorn.
Yes, exactly. I mean, there's gemmos you can take in each trimester if you're pregnant.
Wow.
There's gemmos for newborns. Like, yeah, the first one Rowan ever took was dog rose, which is also a nice nervous system regulator. It's for like, it's like if you're feeling especially fragile in those moments, and it's also good for mucous membranes. So like the thing that's really cool about them is like, yes, there's really cool acute things, but then the nervous system is kind of the second layer.
I like that. So it's like we can we can start taking the 9, using it in these acute circumstances, and then add on some nervous system, regulating ones. And I'm sure you said there's 58 in total?
Yeah.
58 in total. So cool. Well, I am definitely very inspired and excited to start using these. So thank you so much. Where can listeners get their hands on the kit, the Telegram, more information from here?
Everything's on my website. It's confidentlycrunchy.com.
Okay.
And from there you can sign up for the Telegram. I've got a free video that they can download also that you can download. And it walks you through how to use those 9 gemmos in the kit for the 12 over-the-counter swaps. And like a really easy, it's like 15 minutes or less. So it's like if you're ready to start making the switch and you're like done with Tylenol and ready to break up with Motrin, then this is like the easy way to really dive in.
Awesome. I appreciate you, friend. Thank you
Thanks
for this
having me.
information.
This is so much fun.
Yay.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks.